Hi, everybody. It's Denise Steelbot here, and I have the absolute pleasure of bringing Althea to you today. Some of you might know Althea, some of you don't, some of you might be new, and you're thinking, where's Althea? Why is she talking to Denise? Let me quickly introduce myself because I know we've got a lot of new ladies that don't even know who I am. My name is Denise Steelbot, and I'm the founder of my Amazing Flow program, which has helped thousands of people around the world heal rapidly. Althea joined Flow after her husband Tim was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident. She joined Flow, I think it was 3 months after Tim had passed away.
Yep.
And then after that, she did the 12-month Flow Advanced program, which I offer, and which is an amazing program in itself. And I think, Althea, you did that twice, didn't you? You did it the first year and you did the second year.
Yep.
In the second year of doing the Flow Mastermind, I think you had a lot more aha moments and a lot more growth when you revisited it again, because we grow and we can only take on what we're ready to take on. And as our mind expands, we learn. But today is about Althea's journey. It has been a journey, a great journey, and it's been my absolute privilege and honor to witness your journey, to be part of your journey, and to get the midnight calls. Oh, Lord, Cope, I don't know what to do. And then we hop on a call quickly because I still happen to be up and away, even though I'm in Australia and a lot of you are in the US or the UK. Althea's in the US. That never hindered your growth or us working together at all. Not at all. So Althea has just completed, I have to check the numbers here because it's absolutely a milestone and an amazing journey for Althea. Bear in mind that Althea's husband, Tim, was killed on a motorcycle. It was close to home, but I know Althea will share a little bit of that story. So Althea has just completed a 6,126 mile or a 30-day trip around the US, which is amazing. When Althea started with Flow and started healing and releasing her grief, that was one of the things that Althea wanted to do. Althea really wanted to. She had a map, didn't you, Althea? You had a map and you used to pin your journey around. And now she's made that a reality. So I'm going to hand over to you, Althea, briefly what you covered and your mindset along the way.
Well, it's wonderful to be here. I have no clue where I would be if I hadn't found you. Tim being killed in a motorcycle accident was like trauma over trauma. And he was only a mile from home. He had just retired and we were planning, I would retire shortly and we would have a retirement life of writing photographs and I would write. So I knew that I needed to function, and I was very fortunate that our Facebook group crossed my feed and I hooked up with Denise in the program. I just saw the other day, I put that map up on my wall. It's a big US map. And I started keeping track of the smaller trips that I was taking. And I kept looking at this huge piece of the country that was open to me and wanting to do a big trip. I have family in Fort Worth. And so they were kind of like my goal. And I tried that 2 years ago when I was forced into retirement and furloughed at work. That was denied me because I had a breast cancer diagnosis at that time. And when I got ready to do it last year, COVID came along. So this year, I put it together and I did it. And by this year, I had made friends with ladies in our group. And I visited several of them on my trip. I was out into Toledo and Chicago and Wisconsin. And by the time I got there, I said, oh, I'll just go to North Dakota as long as I'm here. And I went up to North Dakota and came down through all of the states, picked up one of my cousins, and she rode with me for 2 days into Fort Worth. And then I rode across the South into Tallahassee and back up through the Appalachian Mountains for motorcycle riders. I did the Tail of the Dragon while I was there. And 30 days after I started, I got home. And it was so freeing to be with myself. I may have played the radio one day, Otherwise, it was just me keeping company with myself and remembering childhood. I sang my way across the country. Childhood songs bubbled up, and I had a blast. I was very comfortable with me.
Now, that's such an important observation and an important part of healing, isn't it? And that's what a big part of what you learn in the flow program is how to be with you, how to love you, how to put yourself first. Could you have done what you did without the program, without the support, without knowing and without having the tools to be with
Certainly
you?
not at this point. Certainly not at this point in time. Because it was, I learned so much in that first year about me and being by myself. A friend of my husband's came into my life and we sort of accidentally fell in love. And then 13 months after my husband was gone, he was taken away from me too. He died of complications of a stroke from heart surgery. And I was just getting ready to come to Thailand for the widows.
Yeah, we had our Thailand retreat.
I spent my time in Thailand recovering. By the time I came home, I knew I needed to get to know me and make sure that the next time I found a man, because that was always in my mind. I don't have children. I don't have siblings close by. I expected to have a man in my life, but I wanted to make sure the next man fell in love with me.
Yeah.
Not who I used to be and not some whiny, grieving widow who needed help.
So what have you observed over this time with having the tools from the flow program? What really sticks out to you that if it wasn't for flow and the support, I wouldn't be here?
Well, if it wasn't for flow and the support, I expect that I would be sitting in a small apartment in St. Paul down the hallway from my brother so that he could watch after me.
Yeah.
I just did not do well at all in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably would have allowed that to happen. There's not a chance in the world I would allow it to happen now. People don't run my life now. I have lots of people who want to tell me things. And I have learned to say, okay, and just go on and do what I want.
Yeah, yeah. So, with the flow program, what would you describe it as? Would you call it a grief program, a life program? How would you describe the flow program?
This is a life program. It's a how to live your life program. I already knew how to grieve. I didn't need help with that. I've gone through steps with you, Denise, and we got me back to where I could go to work and back into my orchestra and function there. And Herb came along and I was able to function with him. I got furloughed from work. That was another grief, another huge change in my life. I was able to handle that because I had the skills to know that I would be okay. I had the breast cancer diagnosis. I'd already been through cancer once, 28 years ago. I had survived that. And I was reminded that my life's important. I think that's what that breast cancer was about, reminding me that my life is important for me. But I had the tools. I did that by myself. I didn't have someone to take me to treatments or hold my hand. I had friends who listened, but I took care of myself. I have a black belt in being by myself.
And I have the tools. I just reach into that black belt and I bring out the tools.
And so I've been living and finding these tools, and joy bubbles up. I had trees try to fall on my house. I made my decisions to go take care of them. Windows tried to fall out. I've made those decisions. I've taken care of myself. And now a new man has come into my life. And all of this just helps me forward through that too, reminding me that I'm still me and I'm going to remain me this time. He can like me the way I am or not, because this is me.
Yeah. And I think that's important. Very often when we lose our life partner, we have that hole, that emptiness, and we want to fill it. We often think the only way to fill it is with another person. But there's nothing further than the truth. We have to fill it with ourselves first. Once we love ourselves first, and I know, it sounds such a cliche, how do you love yourself? None of us are raised or taught to put ourselves first.
Right.
It's always somebody else is more important than us. Their needs are greater than ours. We need to fill our cup to overflowing, and then we can give.
I think that was one of the things about this motorcycle trip. It was all about me. There wasn't anybody else to think about.
Yeah.
I wasn't riding with a partner or a friend or anything else. It was me alone, and I made all the decisions based on what I wanted. A few times I felt totally selfish.
I was just going to say, did you ever feel selfish?
Yes. And then I said, what else would I do? If I want to stop here and spend half an hour looking at cotton fields or soy fields, I can. There was no one else for me to consider.
Yeah. And the freedom that we now have, I think this is one of the gifts from grief, the freedom.
Yeah.
But when I talk about freedom, so much guilt comes up because I shouldn't be free. I shouldn't be happy. My husband died. How can I be happy? I shouldn't be happy. I shouldn't be laughing. I shouldn't be. And then we feel selfish.
Yep.
And it's in that guilt that you have the tools now to release that and to know it's self-love. This is not being selfish.
For me, because I had cancer years ago, I thought I was going to be the one to die. I had insisted that Timothy promised me that if I died first, he would go on living his life and loving.
Yeah.
Because we had no children to fill any of that void.
Yep.
And so when I lost him, it was immediately in my mind that I'm going on living and loving because he promised me that. And although I had no moment to promise him anything, we knew that was our mantra. Last man standing, goes on living and loving.
I want to touch on something that a lot of ladies and people don't understand. It's an ingrained belief in society generally that grief takes time. It takes time to heal. We have to wait for time to heal us. Overwhelmingly, people that I work with all believe that the 8 weeks in the flow program is too good to be true. I've had a lot of ladies say, no, this is too good to be true. I've been with her for 2 years and I'm still struggling. What would you say to that?
If you actually do the work in 8 weeks, I've met the ladies who sat down and did it in 8 weeks. I was working a full-time job at the time, so it took me a little longer. But every single lesson was a step forward, and none of it was about grief. It was about living it. You feel the grief, you let the grief go, flow out of you.
Just feel it,
You feel it. And if you want to cry, you cry. And you just know that that's part of the process. Let it out, but keep living. I am amazed at how far I've come. Several of my friends look at me and say, they're divorced. And just go, you have found 3 men and I can't find one. And my first thought is, well, I'm special. And I can say that now.
Yeah, but it's not being so much special, is that you are attracting, because you've healed yourself. Those ladies that are divorced and are still on the widow trail of trying to find another man, you are attracting who you are and who you've become. So your attraction point has changed.
I am delighted with me.
Yes.
And I love my life. And I know everybody says, okay, what's next on your to-do list? Well, I don't know, and I don't have to fill my to-do list.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
I will be home for the winter, and I will do what I want. One thing I noticed today, Denise, I was looking as I got ready for this. For those of you who have seen me, you'll notice the background's new. I'm downstairs in Tim's computer room. I have not set foot in this room for 4 years.
Wow.
I refused to come in this room.
Yep.
Because this is where he did all of his picture work and he sat and listened to his music. This was his space.
Yep.
And I decided I really needed to do this interview with an Ethernet. And the only this Ethernet wire is down here. And I came home from that trip and I walked into this room without moving anything. I felt like it was mine.
Yeah.
I've got 4 boxes of stuff. I had no qualms at all about it going. I've cleaned and I've done all of this. I typically take before pictures before I start working on the room so that it's easier to brag about what
that's part of the program, to brag.
If you can say, this is what it used to look like, look at it now. I went looking for before pictures of this room. I had not even taken before pictures of this room. I had just simply not come in here. But while I scrolled through 4 years worth of pictures since prior to his accident, looking for something in the last 2-3 years, as I would go, I would see a set of pictures that were me traveling, going out on a motorcycle trip, visiting family, doing something like that. And when I came back, there was a set of pictures of me doing things here at home, changing the house. And then it would settle back into life. And then I would go do something and I would come back and I would have another spurt of cleaning. And that's what's going on right now after this motorcycle ride. I've come home from this motorcycle ride saying, oh, it's time. There's things here that have to be done. I'm living in this house now.
And that's so important because without the right tools, I know a lot of ladies watching this are going to be thinking, well, what's so different about flow? Why does it work and your grief counselor and therapist that I've been seeing for years and years and years, doesn't. I had a lady on a call the other day and she said to me, I'd love to join your program, but I've just enrolled or made an appointment with my 5th counsellor. I was dumbfounded. I said to her, if the first one is not going to work, what makes you think that the 5th one is going to work? She said, because it seems to be so much better. But what counseling and therapy is talk therapy. You talk about your problems. You've been to both. You've had your counselor as well as you worked with me. You had both. Talk therapy is not what we do in flow. It's not what a coach does. A coach is so different to therapy because a coach is already finding what's inside of you and we take you into your future, not your past. So your therapy model and what they are taught and what they learn is all the same, regardless of who they are. It's all the same stuff that they learn is past-based. So it's looking back into your past. Whereas coaching is looking forward. Let's move you forward. Yeah, we know that happened. We know it was shit. We know that you went through a hell of a lot. And everybody gets to the same point, regardless of how it happened, how you became a widow, how you suffered that loss. We get to the same point of moving forward. And that's the important part.
The therapy always made me feel sad because it would dredge back up the pain.
Yeah.
If you always go back, you can't move forward.
That's right. If you keep on living in your past, you can't create your future. As I always say, grief doesn't heal, we heal.
Yep.
We have to heal ourselves. We can't heal our grief. How long have you been grieving for? You need to heal your grief. But you can't, or the 5 steps to heal your grief, or wait for time for your grief to heal. These are all throwaway catchphrases. It's what we do within that time that creates the change. It's not waiting for the time and then hoping that one morning you'll get out of bed and go, well, I've waited the 12 months now. It's 12 months and one day. Yes, I feel wonderful. It's what we do within that time that makes the difference.
I wanted to live. That was it from the very beginning. There was no way I wanted to feel all of that pain for any longer than I needed to.
No. And you started working with me 3 months after Tim was killed, not 3 years.
I did not have a lot of talk therapy to undo. I didn't have a library of grief help books, and
you didn't join copious amounts of grief groups.
No. Well, I joined a couple on Facebook and very quickly got out of them because if you weren't going to help me feel better, I wasn't ready to deal with everybody else's pain. And I certainly didn't want to hear about it lasting. It's been 6 years now, and I am still hurting because I already knew that was never what I would have wanted for Tim. And I think that's an important piece too. If it had been me, it would have been you who had gone, what would you want for your surviving spouse?
This is where we get stuck. And this is where a lot of ladies get stuck and a lot of people get stuck in grief. They don't realize that they are living the legacy of their husbands or the person that passed away. You are the living legacy of passing forward what you experienced together in life. When you stop and grieve and you fall in a hole, you die, not physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You are not living, and you're not passing that legacy on, that love you shared.
Mm-hmm. Life is meant to be lived.
And enjoyed, embraced, and make mistakes, love, and fall out of love. That is the cycle of life. And then at the end, there is death. But it's natural. We're all going to die, but live in the meantime. Embrace what we're blessed to wake up in the morning and go, oh my goodness, it's a new day. Well, what am I going to do today? Who am I being today? So, Althea, what would you say to people that are watching this interview and they're thinking, should I or shouldn't I? They're sort of sitting on the fence. Should I make the call, Denise?
If you're even thinking about doing it, make the phone call. The phone call costs you nothing. It's really lovely because you go to this site and it picks all your times. You don't have to worry about the fact that you live in Australia. It will figure out all the time zones for you. But make that call. I would say that you may not fit. It may not be what you want, but you're not going to know that if you don't make the call and talk. It's your life, it's your happiness, it's your health that you're delaying by not making it. Make it now. Then you can go decide something else. Do it. Say yes and just do it. Because there's going to be something positive come out of the phone call too. It's going to help.
And it's a free phone call. Book a call. See if the flow program is for you. As Althea pointed out, it's not for everyone. You might not be ready yet. That's why I hop on a call, just to see if you are ready and if it is for you. If it's not for you, you haven't wasted my time. I get so many ladies that say to me, oh, I'm so sorry I wasted your time, Denise. No, you haven't wasted my time, because you're going to get a lot of good stuff on the call as well. So there's no time wasting. Don't think you're wasting my time or you're too shy. Just do it. Click the link, and I'll put the link in the comments below. So Althea, as we start wrapping up now, in the beginning, you started off by saying that if it wasn't for the flow program, you wouldn't be where you are. Do you want to say a little bit more about that?
I have discovered, first of all, I really wish this program was available before grief happened. While going through pictures, as much as I hate to say it, I am so much happier now. And it's not that I wasn't happy before. I feel the happiness, the joy is there for life. And I am steps beyond where I would have expected to be ever. Life is just looking wonderful because I take care of me now. it's important to take care of yourself and know yourself.
And it's really rediscovering who you are. You found Althea.
Yes.
You found Althea.
You know, I have discovered because a new person has come into my life, I have been able to say yes to adventures that he wants to go on. He's taken me back to things that I learned in my childhood. I lost a lot of that while I was married with Tim. And I'm getting a chance to rediscover the outdoors and enjoy nature. And it makes me incredibly happy to be going there. The little girl in me is very pleased.
So, ladies, you've watched the interview with Althea. She is a real person. She has been through the flow program. You followed her journey. If you're in the group, a lot of you said, "Oh my God, you're so brave." Well, oh, I'm so proud of you. But as you can see, it hasn't just come. Althea didn't just wake up one morning going, "Well, I'm going to hop on the bike and go around the US." There's been a lot of work that she's done on herself before this could happen and before this could materialize. Althea had to be ready mentally, emotionally, spiritually before she could actually do this. We think we're doing okay, when in fact there's so much more out there. When we delve into our limiting beliefs, our stories we tell ourselves, our programming, all of which we cover in the Flow program. If you don't understand what that is, book your call with me and we'll go through that. I'll explain to you what that is. We unleash and we release and create a new being, a new person, a new who we are. Not because we are different, because we lose ourselves through life. Stuff happens and we lose our inner being, our soul, ourselves. And when you get to your stage now where it's like, you know what? F it. I love myself. I love where I'm at. And I'm going to do it for me. And it's not selfish. I'm not being selfish. Mm-hmm. So Althea, ladies, look at Althea. Look at me. I'm, 2009, I lost Martin suddenly. I have done so much work on myself. Flow came out of me healing myself quickly and wanting to pass it on, because there is a better way. There is a much better, faster way than waiting for time. So please stop waiting for time. Please stop buying into the old system and the old ways of doing grief. Think outside the square. Think, what else can I do? There's got to be a better way, and there is. So book your call with me. Let's talk. We spend about 45 minutes to an hour on the call together and see where you're at in your grief journey and how you can move forward, because it's not about healing your grief. It's about moving forward into your new life.
Thank you, Denise. I am so grateful for having met you and done the program so that I can move forward and live a wonderful life.
Okay. And I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful to be part of your journey. Love you lots.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Althea.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.